The village of Agenju lay nestled between rolling hills and dense forests. To the casual observer, it was an idyllic haven, where the laughter of children mingled with the songs of women pounding yam. Yet, beneath the serene exterior lay a deep unease, a whisper carried by the wind, a shadow slipping through the trees. The villagers called it Ikonoba, the Leopard King, a guardian spirit whose mood dictated the village's fate. The first sign came with the harmattan winds. Farmers woke to find their yam barns overturned, their prized tubers scattered and half-eaten. By evening, hunters whispered about glowing eyes that stalked them through the forest, though no creature revealed itself. Agenju's chief priestess, Mama Udu, knew what it meant. The ancient balance had been disturbed. Adisa crouched low in the forest, his machete clenched in his trembling hand. He was only 16 but had the keen eyes of a hunter. His father had always said so. The forest speaks to those who listen, his father would whisper, teaching him how to track prey and avoid danger. But this was no ordinary day, and Adisa knew it. The air was heavy, and the usual hum of cicadas was replaced by an eerie silence. Adisa had come to gather firewood, but something kept pulling him deeper into the forest. He wasn't sure why he followed the invisible thread tugging at his soul, but his feet moved as if they had a mind of their own. Then he saw it. A shimmer of light moved through the trees like liquid gold. Adisa froze, his breath catching in his throat. The glowing shape stepped into a clearing, revealing itself. It was a leopard, but unlike any he had seen before. Its coat glowed faintly, and its eyes burned with an otherworldly light. For a moment, it stared directly at him, and Adisa felt his knees weaken. The leopard opened its mouth, and though no sound came out, Adisa heard words echoing in his mind. Keeper. Adisa stumbled backward, his machete slipping from his hand. The creature blinked once and turned, disappearing into the shadows as quickly as it had come. By the time Adisa returned to the village, his heart still pounded in his chest. He hadn't spoken a word to anyone, but Mama Udu's eyes found him across the square. She motioned for him to come. Inside her dimly lit hut, the air was thick with the scent of burning herbs. Mama Udu studied him silently, her piercing gaze making him shift uncomfortably. You saw it, she said finally. It wasn't a question. Adisa nodded, his voice barely above a whisper. The leopard. It spoke to me. Mama Udu sighed deeply, her shoulders slumping as though she bore the weight of the entire village. It has chosen you, she said. You are the keeper. Adisa shook his head, fear flashing in his eyes. I don't understand. I didn't ask for this. None of us ask for our destinies, child, she said. But when the spirits call, we must answer. The balance is breaking. If you do not act, all of Agenju will pay the price. What am I supposed to do? Adisa asked, his voice trembling. Mama Udu walked to a corner of the hut and retrieved a small wooden box. She opened it to reveal a pendant carved in the shape of a leopard's paw. It shimmered faintly, just like the creature Adisa had seen. Take this, she said, placing the pendant around his neck. It will guide you when the time comes. For now, keep what you saw to yourself. The village is not ready to know, and neither are you. Adisa clutched the pendant tightly, the cool weight of it grounding him. He didn't know what being the keeper meant, but he could feel the threads of his life beginning to unravel, pulling him toward a destiny he couldn't escape. Outside, the wind howled through the trees, carrying with it the faint echo of a leopard's roar. Adisa couldn't sleep. The events of the day played over and over in his mind, the glowing leopard, its cryptic message, and the pendant now hidden under his tunic. Each time he closed his eyes, he heard the echo of the word, keeper. As dawn broke, Adisa decided he needed answers. He slipped out of his family's hut, careful not to wake his younger sister, Sod, who snored softly beside him. The air was crisp, the first light of morning casting long shadows on the red earth. He knew where he had to go, the forest edge, where the old path began. The old path was forbidden. It wound deep into the whispering forest, where spirits were said to dwell. Children were told tales of those who ventured too far and never returned. But Adisa was no longer a child, and something deep inside him urged him forward. The pendant felt warm against his chest as he stepped onto the overgrown trail. The forest seemed to shift around him, the trees growing denser, their gnarled branches forming a canopy that blocked out the morning sun. The air was heavy, alive with an energy that made Adisa's skin tingle. As he walked, he noticed strange markings on the trees, claw marks, deliberate and precise. They formed a pattern, leading him deeper into the forest. Adisa hesitated for a moment, his father's warnings ringing in his ears. But the warmth of the pendant grew stronger, pulling him forward. The path led to a clearing unlike any Adisa had seen before. At its center stood a massive Iroko tree, its roots twisting like serpents. Hanging from its branches were charms and talismans, some ancient and weathered, others fresh and vibrant. Beneath the tree sat an old man, his back bent like a bow. He wore a robe of tattered animal skins, and his hair was a tangled mass of white. He didn't look up as Adisa approached but spoke in a voice that seemed to resonate with the forest itself. "So, the keeper has come," the old man said. Adisa froze. "How do you know who I am?" The old man chuckled, a sound like dry leaves rustling. "The forest knows. The spirits know. You carry the mark." He pointed a bony finger at Adisa's chest. Adisa touched the pendant instinctively. "What does it mean? Why did the leopard choose me?" The old man's eyes, clouded with age but still sharp, met Adisa's. "The Leopard King does not choose lightly. You are the bridge between our world and theirs, tasked with restoring the balance." "What balance?" Adisa asked, frustration creeping into his voice. "The balance between man and spirit," the old man replied. "For generations, the people of Agenju have taken from the forest without giving back. The spirits are restless, their anger growing. If nothing is done, the Leopard King will unleash his wrath, and your village will be no more." Adisa's heart pounded. "What am I supposed to do?" The old man reached into a small leather pouch at his side and pulled out a bundle of herbs. "Begin with this. Burn it under the Iroko tree at sunset. It will call the Leopard King to you. But beware, keeper, this path is not for the faint of heart. The forest will test you, and the spirits will not make it easy." Adisa took the herbs, his hands trembling. "Why me? I'm just a boy." The old man smiled, his teeth yellow and crooked. "The spirits see what we cannot. Perhaps you are more than you think." As Adisa made his way back to the village, the weight of his task pressed down on him. The forest seemed quieter now, as if holding its breath. By the time he emerged from the trees, the sun was high, and the village was alive with activity. No one noticed him slip into Mama Udu's hut, where he recounted his encounter with the old man. She listened intently, her expression grave. "The old path is dangerous, Adisa. You must tread carefully. But if the Leopard King has chosen you, then you have no choice but to answer the call." Adisa nodded, the pendant growing warm again as if to affirm her words. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, he prepared to return to the clearing, the bundle of herbs in his hand. He didn't know what awaited him, but one thing was clear, his journey as the keeper had begun. This is part 1 of the story. Stay tuned for part 2. I don't want to bore you with lengthy videos, but the next part is going to be a roller coaster. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Thank you.